Death on a Hillside. During November 1979, an Englishwoman, Janet May, and her Italian companion, Gabriella Guerin, disappeared in central Italy during the worst snowstorm for 35 years. Their bodies were found on a hillside more than a year later. Was May, formerly married to a Rothschild, abducted by Sardinian kidnappers? Why were the police so sure the deaths were accidental, when the evidence points to murder? Upon Saturday 29th November 1980, two women, visitors to the region of the Marche in central East Italy, set out from their hotel for a drive in the Apennine Mountains. They failed to return. There was a heavy snowstorm during that day, and the first thought of their friends was that they had decided to shelter somewhere. But when they had still not shown up, by Monday afternoon, a search party went out. The next day a more thorough search was made by 200 men, on foot, in jeeps, snowcats and helicopters. They found nothing. The women, Janet May and her friend Gabriella, had disappeared without a trace. 14 months later, a hunter came across their bodies in a mountain forest. Examination of the remains showed no evidence of trauma on the bones, neither knife or gunshot wounds, and no fractures. The conclusion of the police was straightforward. The two women had gone up to the mountain on a pleasure trip and had been caught up in the storm. After spending 2 days in the shepherd's cottage, they had set out to walk to the nearest village. They had become disorientated in the snow and had wandered off the road. Exhausted, they had stretched out to the rest and had died of exposure. With this explanation, the police were prepared to close the file, but a team of British journalists, led by Philip Knightley of the Sunday Times, was sure that there was more to it. Now, a personal note before I continue this. Number one, it's possible that they could have died with exposure. Number two, they would have been strong enough to survive this and seek shelter, and educated enough to understand what they must do, because the snowstorm wouldn't have lasted that long. And it's not like in the movies when you get a snowstorm and it's all over for you. And number three, this, like Mr. Philip Knightley, Sunday Times, there you go, see, obviously he's going to say, oh my gosh, it's murder, for the news aspect of it. So there's three clues like to go on, and I'll continue this later. Thank you very much.